Profoto, and today we are going to be doing natural light style headshots. Now, you may ask yourself, why in the world would I want to worry about natural light style headshots? I could just use natural light. True, but the problem that you may run into with natural light, that a lot of people run into with natural light, is it can be inconsistent. So as a professional, you should be able to repeat your results consistently over and over and over again. So having the knowledge of how to do this in your arsenal is just going to make you a stronger professional and a stronger photographer. Plus, it's a really, really great look. People really like it. It's incredibly simple. We're going to do it a couple of different setup ways today. So for the first setup that we're going to do, I have a Profoto D2. That is because, one, the reason I like to use my D2s is because it has a pretty strong continuous light inside of it. So it really helps for getting the pupil smaller in the subject's eyes. Also, I'm going with a D2 or a B1 style for this softbox because the 4x6 is pretty heavy. So that will support the weight of the 4x6. The B10 pluses aren't necessarily made for that heavy of a softbox, so I would advise against that. But if you don't have a D2 and you don't have a 4x6, we're going to do a variation on it. So you can, and we're going to be doing it with umbrellas and and B10. So this isn't the way you have to do it. If you don't have some more of this other equipment, there are other ways that you can do it as well. I don't necessarily have those access to a couple of one of the things that I'm going to be talking about down here in my basement, where we're shooting all this stuff. So, but it's really, really simple. So when you're doing a natural light style headshot, especially when you're trying to mimic a window light, the thing that you're doing is you're trying to get a big surface area for your light. So hence why I'm using a 4x6. And I've actually turned that 4x6 sideways. So it's actually 6 feet wide, 4 feet tall. And you want to try to raise it up a little bit above the, so it's shooting down a little bit more on your subject. You could bring it down a little bit more and kind of have it even with your subject, but it starts to kind of light underneath a little too much. It feels a little ring lightish. It's not, I mean, it's not exactly it, but it's not necessarily the look that we're going for this shot. It may be something that you actually really like, and if so, drop the light down a little bit, have some fun with it. So, but what we're going to do is we have the 4x6 raised up, and like I said, it's up a little bit. Kate will be sitting right here on this stool, just so we can keep the height up a little bit more above the eye line, kind of where I want it. And the nice thing about having such a big softbox is it's going to do a lot what a big window is going to do, where it will wrap all the way around you. So the fact that I'll be standing in front of it won't really matter because it's such a large surface area that it's going to take that light and it's going to wrap it all the way around me. And it's going to flood Kate, and it's going to look really, really fantastic. So we're going to do it just regular, and then I have a couple of flags that I'm going to add into the shot just to kind of add some contour. Because one of the things that you can run into with a natural light window shot, especially head-on, is it's very flat, which can be flattering, but there's not a lot of dimension in that. So the nice thing is you could take a couple of V-flats, I have a couple of flags that I use for my video production stuff and my photo stuff. So I'll use those on a couple of stands. And what that'll do is it'll act as a little bit of negative fill. So it'll kind of carve up the face a little bit, kind of accentuate. I can't speak English today. It'll enunciate your jawlines, so it'll accentuate your cheekbones, jawline, stuff like that. It's kind of really, really show off some of the person's facial features. So we will add that into just so you can kind of see the difference to and fro. And then from there, we're going to move and do the exact same thing, but we're going to do it with B10s and we're going to do it with umbrellas. So umbrellas are really, really easy to acquire. They're easy to travel with. This thing can be kind of cumbersome sometimes. It's nice if you have a space that you can kind of just set it up and have it there. So cool. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions before we start shooting. Just hello to everybody. What's up, everybody? No sound. Yeah, you guys were watching the live card before we actually went live. So, but what's up? Sweden in the house. David, what's up, Chris? Likely Kate. Kate's always here. She's running the show from behind the scenes. Hey. Cool. What's up, Jess? What's happening? So what we want to try to do is and this is going to be something that's all about personal flavor. I have separated, and you could probably see it on the side shot, I have a pretty good amount of space. It's pretty even between the camera where Kate's gonna be sitting in the background. We're probably working with 10 feet of space. I probably have it like 5 feet in between the camera and the subject and the background and the subject. That's gonna give me the background color that I'm looking for, that kind of like light gray tone as my laptop rolls away, my uneven floors. So that's gonna give me that gray tone that I want. If you want more of a lighter tone, you want the background to go wider, you want more of a high key feel, what you can do is you can start to move the subject closer to the background, or you can move the background closer to the subject depending on if the way the light is falling is the exact way you want it on the subject. The nice thing about doing this with a flash over doing it with actual windows is, once again, you have control. So if you decide that you need to move the subject back further away, you can bring the light in, whereas it's going to be hard to move a wall in your studio or wherever you may be shooting. So I'm not gonna move the 4x6 so much, just because I don't have a lot of headspace to kind of get it around my video lights without it kind of being all over the place. But what we're gonna do is we'll vary the background whenever we move over to the umbrella setup, because I've got it on some rollers also, and that'll be a little easier to navigate. So, but in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, shoot me some, and we're actually going to start photographing. So my first setup, like I said, is a 4x6 RFI softbox on a Profoto D2 1000. My camera settings that I'm going to be using, let me actually pop this up right here. So my camera settings that I'm going to be using are, let's get over here so I can see again. So it should be 1/250th of a second, ISO 160, f8. It's kind of where I like to live for these lives. It's just part of the consistency that I'm going for with some of this stuff. So since I'm only using one light, and then whenever I move over to the B2s, technically I'm only using one light because they're both coming from the same. It'll be like one source. I'm using my Profoto Connect, so I'm not really too worried about needing to adjust different groups and stuff like that. So as far as I'm concerned, one light, so I'm going Profoto Connect on top of my Fuji X-T3. For anyone who asked what kind of camera I'm using, that's what it is. We're shooting into Capture One for anyone who is wondering what software we're shooting into. So what's up, Frankfurt, Germany in the house, India in the house? What's up, everybody? I know it's probably much later where some of you are. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. So you ready to rock and roll, Kate?
Yeah. Do you want your computer as a large shot?
Yeah, you could do the computer as the main shot so people can see it, and then you could just, we could do...
Side shot.
Yeah. So really, really simple stuff that we're doing. Once again, from the subject to the light is about 5 feet. From the subject to the background is about 5 feet, and that's going to give us a nice little gray tone from the light fall off. The nice thing is the light source is really, really large, so it's going to cover a lot. It's going to spread the light out pretty evenly. And so whenever you see, like this was the hero shot from earlier that you guys saw in the car shot when you fired it up, you can see that the background is pretty smooth. So we're just gonna replicate that. So the nice thing is, it's a big light source. It's pretty even stuff. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna mess up the power settings on my flash so we can actually go through the whole process of everything. Hello to everybody. Hello, it's Kate. Sweet. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in on Caitlin's face a little bit, not the super tight shot, because the nice thing is, for the most part, she's wearing a white shirt, the background's white, all the tones are relatively even, so the TTL shouldn't have too hard of a time with this. So I'm gonna take a TTL shot, I'm gonna flip the Connect over to manual and lock it into place, and we'll be good to go there. So line up Caitlin right here. This is pretty easy. Like I said before, there's still, my wingspan barely, actually, I can touch both sides. So my wingspan, you can see that all this light's gonna just keep wrapping around me. So the fact that I'm standing in front of it's not that big of a deal. I always duck down just a little bit anyway, so only my large melon head is the thing that's blocking the light. But for the most part, it'll be really pretty. I'll assume this crazy leg position. There we go. Yep, there we go. Sandwich style. Just hold your hands down. Like, there we go. Okay. So this is a TTL shot just to get our light set the way we want. 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on. My camera does this thing, and it does it all the time, where it decides that it wants to like half fire So let's do this one more time. Yeah, it's doing that half fire thing. It's so weird. There it goes. So TTL shots right on the money. So all we're gonna do, yeah, I can kind of see it. So TTL shots right on the money light-wise. So all we're gonna do is take the Connect and flip it over to manual mode, and now we're locked into place. So I will have the consistency of the shot every single time because nothing's gonna change anymore. So we'll go here, 3, 2, 1. Just really, 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 really pretty light. So it looks natural. It floods in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the flags into the shot. Now, they will probably be blocking Caitlin a little bit just because of where I will be placing them, but she's still there. You'll see it when it pops up when I fire off the shot. So sit down for me real fast. So what the flags are gonna do, like I said, they're gonna add a little more dimension. They're gonna kind of start carving up the face a little bit more. I always position them a little bit forward. So some people will push the flags back really, really far. For me, sometimes that starts creeping into the frame. So I position it a little more forward. So you can see Caitlin sticking her hands out. You can just see the ends of her hand.
I can go.
Yeah, so, and like I said, all the black flags or cards or V-flats or whatever that you want are gonna do is they're just gonna add a little more dimension. And we'll be able to side by side them. So this is a way that you can get something kind of neat inside of a natural light looking headshot. There we go, 3, 2, 1. Very, very nice. Nose back towards me just a touch more. 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Cool. So let's compare those shots, and then we will set up the umbrellas. Yeah, I got it. Thanks, Kate. So we'll set up the umbrellas. I'm sorry, I'm like bopping you with like light stands. Cool. So we'll do a side-by-side just so we can kind of see what the flags added and didn't add. But like you can see, it's really, really gorgeous light. It looks just like a lot of the headshots that you've seen. I know when we lived in New York for a while, there was a kind of a big wave of people really, really liking that big window light look. And this is a way that you can replicate it all the time. If the sun's out, if it's a rainy day, no matter what, you can make this shot, which is, once again, it's one light and one modifier. Really, really simple. But you can see my melon head and her eyeballs right there. So you still have all that light wrapping around. Really, really fantastic. Gorgeous light. And so let's do a comparison of cards and no cards. So the shadows just deepen up a little bit, especially like right here on the arms, you can see. So here on her arm, it's definitely not as shaded as in here. So you start to add some more of that contour in. It's really, really cool. It's one of those things it's a way that you can do some more light control while you're still using a big, gigantic light source to, like, essentially, we're making a gigantic window at this point. So, but really, really gorgeous. It's a simple, simple technique, and it's really hard to do it wrong. So let me see if you guys have any questions before we flip from using the D2 with the 4x6 to the, we're gonna be using the large white umbrellas today. So they're 54 inches. So we should be able to get relatively, actually might actually be even a little bit bigger than this box, but we're gonna spread them out a little bit and have a place for me to stand. So see if you guys have any questions. What's up, Costa Rica in the house, Bermuda in the house, all the places I wanna be right now. North Carolina, hey, hey, hey. Egypt, what's up? It says, Nico, I'm using strips, but sometime like this morning, my TTL fires 1.5, but actually needs 3.4. Was using 2 strips. So it could be your TTL is firing way low. So what I would tell you to check, Nico, is the first thing I tell anyone to check who's using TTL stuff and getting inconsistent results is check your firmware, check your camera, check your remote, and check your flash. I tell people this story all the time, but I had a 5D Mark III for a really long time, and I had at a trade show, I had a guy come up and he was firing off TTL shots. They were like, boom, boom, boom. They were perfect, perfect, perfect. And I was like, I have the same camera as you, man. Like, I'm consistently having to turn my camera down a stop. And he turned to me, I worked at Profoto at the time, and he turned to me and he goes, did you check your camera firmware? And as the tech guy, I kind of wanted to melt like under like the booth or wherever we were at. I was like, no, I haven't. I literally was way out of firmware up on my camera, fixed my TTL. So check that, Nico. It could be If not, get back at me and we'll see if we can sort it out. Devin from Glazers in the house. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming and hanging. So once again, we did that last shot, and let's I can pull this up so Caitlin can see. That last shot, once again, was with a 4x6 and a Profoto D2 1000, just to, once again, make a gigantic window. What if you don't have D2 1000 4x6 softbox space to shoot that in, or you don't even have those modifiers and you just have some other things? I'm going to show you that really it doesn't matter the specifics of the modifier, that you're just using the concepts to get that same look. So what we're going for is we're going to, once again, make a big wall of light, like 2 gigantic windows firing right past us. It's a flat style light, but we're going to do it with B10s and umbrellas. So something that people probably, especially with the D2s are super popular, but with the popularity of like being able to take your flash in and outdoors, B10s are probably going to be something a lot more people are using, or B1s or something like that. So let's talk about using that with umbrellas. So I'm going to slide this out of the way. I'm going to turn off this D2. I'm going to leave it here. So on the side shot, you'll probably see it, but it is off. It is not working. So go ahead and kill that. And we're going to go to the world of B10s. So umbrella-wise, we're going to use the Umbrella Deep Large White, mainly because it's pretty consistent edge to edge. You don't have to worry about any hot spots being produced by the actual fabric of the umbrella itself. So we're going with 2 white umbrellas. It should be really, really smooth. Should look really nice. So let's, oh, there's my laptop. See you later, dude. So my home is older, and my floors aren't the most level thing in the entire world. So, you know, sometimes my laptop goes on a journey. So this is also I'm gonna be placing this to where it's probably gonna block out my video lights a little bit. So just bear with me. It might get a little dark. So, but here, let's go here with this. You know what? That's kind of like all up in y'all's business. So let's kind of, that's fine right there. Okay, cool. Sorry, that was really up close of my face too, probably on a wide shot. So that's exciting. So you know what we're gonna do, because it's probably the smart thing to do? I'm gonna lock the wheels on my laptop. So we've got that, we've got my B10 Plus. We'll set that bad boy up. And like I said, just 2 white umbrellas. Really, really simple stuff. Things that people probably have. So it's consistency. So if you're just joining us, I talked about this a while ago, but you might be wondering, like, why would I be using flash for this? Like, why can't I just use a window and do natural light style headshots with, you know, natural light? And my answer to that is you can. No one's telling you You do that. But the thing that you can run into is consistency. So if you have a actually, this is way bigger than the 4x6, so this should look really, really nice. I'm gonna be here. Hang on a second. Let me give one more light, because oh, you know what? What am I doing? These things have video lights. Let's just turn the video lights on. I'm a dummy. Sorry, guys. There we go. So there's that one. Let's turn this video light on, and we're not gonna be live that much longer, so it should be nice and good. There we go. So hopefully that helps. So what was I saying, Caitlin?
Large.
Oh, these are large. These are larger than the 4x6. So I mean, just looking at it. So light-wise, it should be even softer. So which is kind of cool. So let's see if you have any questions before we jump behind and start firing with the what you call it? Let's see. Which light stands are those? I like the small real estate. So these are the Avenger. Oh, it doesn't say the name on them. They're Avengers. They're like their Avenger low rollers. I can't remember the names off of them, but they're pretty brilliant little. I've had them forever. They still make them. They're great light stands. I don't see the sticker. I apologize. I'll find out what they are, and I'll shoot you a message in the comments. So, Sweet. Let's see. Cool. Let's take some photos. You flip over to my laptop.
I can.
Sweet. Let's do that. And we will fire this off. So the lighting wise, it's a touch closer to Caitlin than the last one was. We're probably 1.5 feet closer on the shot, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. What you're going to see because of that is the background's going to get a little bit lighter. So, and this is what I was talking about earlier, how we can control the tone of that background by moving our lights and our subject closer to that background. Or actually, technically, we don't want to move the lights closer to the subject. We just want to move the subject closer to the background. That way, the inverse square law will dictate that the light will fall off slower, so it'll hit the background a little more even with the subject. So, oh yeah, let me get the comments out of the way. Sorry, there we go. Cool. So we have Caitlin up in here. I just turned the B10s on. I haven't done anything, but like I said, let me make sure they're on the same group too. We're talking group A. Group B, let's get them all to group A. Because once again, I want these to pretend they're just one big light source. That's all I want out of them. So let's go here. So I've got my camera set up. I'm gonna zoom in on Caitlin a little bit. Actually, I probably don't need to. I'm just gonna stay here. So just, there we go, drop the arms down. 3, let's go to TTL mode. 3, 2, 1. Gorgeous. That's fantastic light. So you can see first shot with TTL, really, really beautiful. Still looks like a gigantic window. It's the 4x6 has a little more snap to it to me, but that just could be that could just be light placement as far as everything goes. But you're still getting a gigantic window light. Let's see what that catch light looks like in the eye. It still looks like a large light. Really, really beautiful. Fantastic stuff. So if we want to start making that background start to come up a little bit more and feel a little more high key, we could just back Kate up. So if you could back up for me a little bit, Kate. Yeah. Let's go even closer. Let's go like right there. The nice thing is this is such a big light source that her being closer to the background shouldn't, let me move these. Her being closer to the background shouldn't affect any of the shadows or stuff like that, because the modifier is the modifiers are so large that we shouldn't have any issues with it. So we're gonna do that now. So cool. We have her now. She's probably, let's back you up just a little bit more. So she's probably 1 foot from the background. I'm probably gonna have to zoom in a little bit more or move my camera a touch, which is fine. Let's see. So because we have moved everything, I'm gonna take another TTL reading. So let's get that same kind of crop in there, right here, Kate. So 3, 2, 1. So there we go. So now because she's close to the background, lock that in, look at me one more time. 3, 2, 1, perfect. Because she's closer to the background, you can see that we're getting more of a wider tone. So you have the ability to control how that light hits that background, how much saturation it does or doesn't have, just based on how much light is flooding towards it, which is kind of nice. So that's why you want to do some more of this stuff based on more of a flash philosophy and not so much on the windows. Once again, windows are beautiful and you can use them all the time. They make great light. The downside is inconsistency, especially like here in Atlanta, Georgia. I guess if you live in something like Southern California or a place that it rarely rains, there's no clouds in the sky, it's not that big of a deal. But in a place like here in Georgia, or a climate that gets a lot of different types of weather, like today it's cloudy, but I'm sure at some point the sun will be really, really bright, and I'm also sure that at some point it'll rain today, because that's just what it does here. So like temperate climates, stuff like that, where things change often, it's nice to have the ability to know how to do this stuff in your arsenal, so you never run into an issue where you might have to reschedule the shoot because the sun's not doing what you want it to do. So I think just having that professional mindset and always being able to replicate your results over and over and over again, because if someone hires you for a specific look, you shouldn't have to hope and pray that your light situation is going to be the same thing every day. So really, really simple stuff. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions before we sign out for the day. Thanks so much, Kate. let's bring. I could probably make her hold a reflector under her chin. I don't necessarily want that look. Who said that? Mohammed? I don't necessarily want that look just because the light modifiers are pretty big. I'm gonna get all this stuff out of the way. There we go. Umbrella down. There we go. I'm back. So just drop this stuff down. So, but it's really simple stuff. Once again, we did this with single modifiers. The second shot was done with 2 modifiers, but pretending that it was just 1 flash. So we positioned the B10s in the exact same space that they were, that the D2 1000 was. So getting I'm gonna knock everything over. Getting great light is really, really simple stuff. You just have to understand what it is that you're trying to control. Oh, there we go. You just have to understand what it is that you're trying to control. And that way you know kind of how to position your light, what size modifiers you're gonna need to get the result that you're looking for, and stuff like that. And that's what this live is for, is to explore those ideas and those concepts and give you more tools to put in your toolbox. So let's see. Oh yeah, someone already asked about the light stand, so cool. So yeah, once again, really, really simple. So to kind of go over everything that we did again, just so we're super clear on what the technique was. One big light source mimicking a window. The concept is simple. So for our first shot that we did, so if we go back here to, oh, that is Photoshop, that is not my. So if we go back here, the first shot was a Profoto RFI 4x6 on a Profoto D2 1000. So just set up 6 feet wide, 4 feet tall, and up above the eye line. So that way the light is coming down on Kate. That way it's getting less of that kind of all around ring light effect. Granted, it's not as small as a ring light, so you're not gonna get as sharp of a shadow that you would get from a ring light, but it's still the same concept. It's light from all the way around. So this right here is going to keep most of the light concentrated at the top and coming down, and that way it starts to fall a lot more natural. Light coming from underneath isn't quite as natural, and you definitely don't want the majority of that light coming from that direction. So 4x6, wider than it is taller, and that way it just floods and it starts to wrap around everything. It fills in tons of shadows. And then what we did to kind of up the ante a little bit is we brought in a couple of flags and sandwiched Caitlin with the flags. And what that's going to start to do is start to carve up some of these cheekbones a little bit, start to bring in a little more dimension right here on the sides of her arms and stuff like that. So lots of different ways that you can still control a very big light source. You could add a big grid to it if you wanted to control even more of that spread. For the look that I'm going for, I wanted as much light as I could to hit Kate and the background. So sans grid.
The background white or off?
The background, oh, someone asked that? Oh, sorry. So the background is white. Yep, so Mohammed, it is a solid white backdrop. It's just because the inverse square law, which my simple layman's term definition of the inverse square law is the closer the subject is, or the closer the light is to the subject, the faster it falls off. So because we left the light where it was and we brought Kate closer to the backdrop, that's why we were able to see more. That's why the backdrop started to lighten up, because the light was falling off slower because Caitlin was further from the light. So that's my I'm a dummy because I am a dummy way of explaining it. So there's I kind of know the technical stuff, but I always butcher it. So that's my Chris is a layman version. And then for the second setup we just did 2 big white umbrellas. So let's do kind of a side-by-side look of umbrellas. Let me zoom in here to kind of match the crop. There we go. Oh, messed that up. There we go. No, still messing it up. I'm awesome. Whatever, we're just gonna leave it there because apparently I'm crushing this. There we go, zoom out. Perfect. So light, I can't win. Light-wise, they're pretty similar. For me, it might just be that this is probably just a little bit more, a little higher power, like it's exposed a little hotter. It's got a touch more snap for me. I like the look of the 4x6. It also probably has something to do with that silver interior kind kind of punching the light up and really throwing it where I want it to. So, but once again, if you don't have access to a 4x6, you can get very similar results with a couple of umbrellas and a couple of lights. And if you only have one light and one gigantic umbrella, you could do the same thing. Just kind of put it right behind you and just let it flood. A translucent umbrella is going to do a really great job. It'll kind of send the light everywhere. But even a gigantic white, like extra large white interior umbrella would be great. It's probably going to be a touch harder to get that look out of a silver umbrella, just because. And granted, you can change kind of the beam spread on a silver umbrella just by moving it closer or further away from the flash. So what you would want to do is just kind of play with that a little bit, because sometimes you can get a hot spot with a silver umbrella. So let's see, before I sign off, let's see if you guys have any other questions, and if not, I'm out of here for the weekend. Sweet, nothing else. So thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. So if you have any other questions, if there's anything that you want to see in particular, any type of live broadcast, any subjects you want covered, let me know, and we'll go over that stuff. We're going to be doing a lot more gear breakdowns, a lot more techniques of things like that, and just having a lot of fun shooting a lot of different stuff. So in the meantime, have an awesome weekend, and we will see you next week. Peace out.